2, 3, go. Hey Sadie, thanks for coming in today. First and foremost, we're going to talk about confidentiality. So, everything that we talk about in here stays between us. However, there are certain cases where I'll have to break confidentiality. So if you report to me that you're going to hurt yourself or someone else, I have to report that. If you report to me the abuse of a child, an elder, or someone who's handicapped, I'll also have to report that. And in the rare case of a court subpoena, I will have to report that as well, but that rarely happens. So, so we are being taped, and I am a psychology therapist in training. My supervisor is Dr. Nikki Hilton, and she'll be reviewing the tapes with me. So, what brings you in today?
Okay, so basically I have one big umbrella problem,
Okay.
and then a lot of other problems that are affected by that.
All right.
So my parents got divorced when I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
It never, when it happened, I never really took a hit that hard.
Okay.
I should tell you. I'm the second oldest of 7 kids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The oldest is 4 years above me. I'm 21, so now she's 25. She was, she was out of high school by the time this happened to her, had just graduated.
Okay.
And then the youngest is now 9.
Oh, wow.
But she was, 5 or so when it happened?
Yeah.
Math, I don't know. And so it really hit the smaller kids and my older sister a lot harder than it hit me.
Yeah.
Which I was fine with, okay? And then as time has gone, I feel like I'm starting now to see how it's affecting me.
Yeah.
My parents, a messy divorce. My parents don't like each other at all.
Okay.
My dad is still in love with my mom. My mom hates my dad's guts. And because my mom hates my dad doesn't like my mom, but he still loves her, you know, that awkward. Another thing is I had always been closer with my dad. I never really fit well with my mom. Our personalities just never really matched up.
Yeah, I understand that.
And whenever they got divorced, we all just lived with my mom because my dad's not really the type who will be able to take care of 7 kids.
Yeah, capable?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so we all just lived with my mom, which was fine. I figured that would happen. But there was a time in high school that I just felt really alone because she never tried to relate to me.
Yeah, you had the relationship with your dad.
Yeah. And then that was taken away. And so a lot of things that's just kind of how it is now.
Yeah.
And the things that I'm nervous about anticipating are things like my graduation, because that's the next real big thing.
Yeah.
So at my high school graduation, my parents were there and it was okay. My high school senior night for volleyball, because they were divorced at that time, they my dad ended up, he was out of town, but my mom told me, she was if you invite your dad, I'm not coming. And she was actually late. Yeah, and it was a whole big deal. And that was the first night that I was okay, this is not gonna be easy. Because I figured most people's divorces, it's a big deal and then it fizzles out. But that's not what happened.
Not the case here, okay.
Yeah, and so, so that happened on my senior night in high school. And then I just had my senior night for volleyball.
Okay, how did that go?
It was better than I thought it would.
Both of them there?
Yeah, both of them were there, which was good. Yeah, it was fine. It was kind of awkward. It's always going to be awkward, but because they both escort you out onto the court and all that stuff, and the whole little ceremony, whatever. So it was fine. It was weird. My dad basically left right after it was over, which I expected him to.
Yeah.
So no shock, but I know that my mom wasn't happy that he was there, and so which makes me mad because that's my dad. Regardless, I'm sorry. If you hate him, it's still my dad.
Yeah.
But then thinking about all of those events and how weird they've been and how much my mom doesn't want him to be there, going on to graduation, I don't know how that's gonna play out because
yeah,
the only
that's
reason
big.
yeah, and I don't know. My mom's reasoning for this is that my dad has never like really been able to financially support. He he had a rough childhood, and he's a construction worker now, so he doesn't make that much money until like a job is done. And so like he was just never really able to be the financial means for the family. And a family of 7 kids, like that's an issue. So that's where a lot of their problems stem from. But like she always says like, oh, your dad's never given you anything, he's never been able to support for you. I'm like, I understand like what she's saying, like because he's never been able to buy me things, whatever. I don't need things, like especially like I'm not a very materialistic person, like at all. Like just the fact that my dad is there for me and just gives that affection.
Loves you.
Yeah, that's all I need, honestly. Some people might be different, that's not how I am. But yeah. And then another big thing is that since I have so many little siblings, I see how like hard they took it, especially the younger 2, because they're the 2 that really see my dad, because they're minors, so they're the only ones that were like required to see my dad. So they go over there like every other weekend or so, and it's been tough because it's really hard to see them put in the middle of everything, because my mom every time, like, because we'll have dinner with my dad every now and then, we'll just have like a Sunday night dinner usually. We'll go out to a restaurant, and that's really the only time that I see my dad, other than like a big holiday or something like that. But every time like we go to see him or interact with him and mom knows about it, she'll be like, well, make sure you ask for money, make sure you ask for this, make sure you ask for that, And especially like for her to tell the little ones to do that, that's like awful. And I know like when I was in high school, like I had to stand up for them a lot, which I mean, big sister, I'm fine with doing that. But now that I'm gone and I'm a senior in college, and this has still gone on, I know that there's been 4 years that they've not really had that shield, I feel like. And that kind of sucks. And then
that's shield. You're the one taking all the blows. You were the one taking the blows.
Which I mean I'm fine with. I don't have an issue with it. I just hate that they have to go through that now, like
their shield.
And then my parents are both so childish that they don't see the hurt that they're causing them. Because like my brother, he's the only boy of 7 girls. He like had a huge bond with my dad before all of this happened, and he still does, I think. But I know that it's kind of like withered out a little bit because of like all of the thoughts that my mom's been putting into his head, which isn't fair, because it's like, why would you do that? That's his father, regardless of if you like him or not. Like, and so now, I don't know, it sucks because whenever I go home, I see things, like my brother will do something that he doesn't normally do, and then he'll like blame it on dad. And it's like, like where did this come from?
Like there's mom.
And it's like, a year ago you wouldn't have said that, which just sucks. I don't know, it just sucks. But after graduation, another problem I'm dealing with. After graduation, when I go home, I don't know how, like, what the best way to, like, I don't know, because when I go home, or in the past, I've always been manipulated by my mom. Like, she's just always been like, do this, like, whatever you're doing, I don't care, do what I need you to do, kind of thing. And for a while, like, I just, went with it. And she still kind of has that hold on me. And going back home, I don't want that to happen. Just because, I'm gonna be 22 when I move home. Like, that's not okay for a mom to have that on me. Like, even this summer when I was working, like, had a full-time job, and I was coaching for her, and like volunteer coaching for my sister, like I was doing all these things, and she still like had the power over me to like tell me like stop what you're doing and go fix this for me, or you know, do what I need you to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, when is this ever gonna end? You know?
Yeah.
And she no, we're just talking about my mom, we'll just go with it. So my sister, whenever they got married, my older sister, when she got married to her now husband, my mom, they moved to Cookeville for like the first 2 years of their marriage, because he was still going to school at Tennessee Tech. And so that's like an hour away from where my family lives, an hour and a half-ish. And there were weekends that while my sister was married, living in Cookeville, there were weekends that my mom like had to travel somewhere, and she expected my sister to stop whatever she was doing and come and watch the babies.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like that's just kind of what I'm talking about. Like I don't want to get under that hold whenever I go home.
Yeah, it sounds like your mom's almost really needy, and just because she was there for you, unlike you know your father was able to be financially, she feels sort of, you know, like she's deserved this. Yeah, that must put you in a rough spot. It sounds like with your mom, you're annoyed with, you know, everything that comes with her.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. I don't know, and again, we've never had that close relationship. And the fact that she's always been so like stubborn and like close-minded, I would say, to like try and relate to me. Like I've just always like closed it off. But of course she's my mom, so I have to listen to her, you know, like that kind of, like that's how
like
I was
an obligation
raised.
almost. You feel obligated.
Right. But yeah, that just kind of, I don't know. I always thought that it never like I didn't care, especially like growing up in high school. Like I always like, honestly, I thought there was something wrong with me, because I was like, I just pushed my feelings down.
Coping.
And so I just like always thought that I was so shallow and like didn't have any feelings whatsoever. And now that I'm away from her and I don't have such like her strong presence in my life as much, I know that feelings are okay, and it's okay to like, you know, justify my own feelings and not have to change what I think because of her.
Wow.
But I don't know. I think it just, honestly, it really sucks, because I know like she's kind of like messed me up in that way. You know?
Yeah, sounds like it.
And I don't want my siblings to go through that. And so like when I think about going home, when I go home, I want to have a different presence in her mind, you know? And I don't know how to really like make that. I don't know if that's even possible, but I don't want to be trampled over, and I want to be able to like tell her like, hey,
you're not gonna do this.
Yeah. And because I mean, even my sister, who now has a baby, like my older sister, she has her own child and still has to babysit, you know, my younger kids whenever my younger siblings, whenever my mom wants her to. And it's like, my mom doesn't even check up on her, like, hey, like, will you